Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, which is 1 AM in Australia, which is 10 AM in Australia or 1 AM if you're in the UK. If you miss the live streams though, you can catch up with the premiere event streams on a Friday and Saturday at 2 PM Pacific in the US, which is 7 AM in Australia or 10 PM in the UK. Galen, it's good to see you, Galen, buddy. How are you? Galen says, yeah, made it on time today, but still reeling from the loss of Notre Dame. I know, one place on my bucket list that I will never visit. Same here. I actually have never been to Notre Dame either. And I'm doubly just sad because it's the Gothic architecture is something I love. I love Gothic architecture. As if you couldn't tell with all the angels and stuff that I do. So I'm really sad about that. It was a beautiful building. Let's hope they can maybe rebuild it. Let's hope they didn't lose too much of that precious artwork that's inside the building as well, because it's not just the building. It's full of ancient artwork. So it's a real loss. It's terrible. Really terrible. Sniper Girl, good to see you. Hi to you as well. And you heard that too. I know it's all over the news here in Australia. They're talking about Notre Dame. Rightly so, because it's such a beautiful building. And like I said, Gothic architecture, it's just a beautiful building. Let's see, I hope that they can rebuild it though, like I said, and let's hope they didn't lose too much of that artwork. Of course, it's very sad for the people of France and Paris as well, because it's right in the heart of Paris, so it's one of Paris's most iconic buildings, with the Eiffel Tower, of course, but it comes a close second, Notre Dame. Gannon says, they said the artwork was safe, thank goodness. Well, I hope so. I hope they got it out. I hope so. Legmo, good to see you, buddy. Legmo says, yes, I cannot believe that Judge Claude Froley set fire to Notre Dame in an attempt to persuade Esmeralda to love him and murder Cosimo. You're nuts. You are crazy, Legmo, crazy. And hello to you too, by the way, as well. But it is good. I hope they did save most of the artwork. I don't know if they got it all out. I don't know. They may have. I hope they did. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Because it is such a beautiful building. And it is full of such beautiful artwork. I hope you guys and girls had a good weekend, by the way. Galen says to Legmog, don't you have a Brexit to get back to? And don't you have Article 13 to worry about? Or is it Article 17 now? Because they renamed it, which is that European copyright thing that's going on at the moment. That just passed, actually. So I think it passed yesterday. Like they had the vote a couple of weeks ago, but the final vote to actually pass the legislation was done, I think, yesterday. So Article 13, Article 17, whatever you want to refer to it as, is going to come into law within the next 2 years. And that'll be an interesting time for everyone. I'm in two minds about it. I believe if you're a creative person and somebody's using your work and they shouldn't be, that you should get paid for it. Because, you know, I sell stuff online. I don't want people using my stuff without illegally. So in that respect, it's good. But in another respect, it could be really detrimental to a lot of businesses like Twitch or YouTube, because they are going to be responsible for all the content that us users use on their service. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Sniper Girl says, looks like Article 13. What is it? It's a really restrictive European copyright law, which makes big companies like Twitch or YouTube or any large company that makes them responsible for any copyrighted material their users upload to their site. So YouTube, you know, they have their copyright bot algorithm that goes through and flags anything as copyright. It's similar to that, but it's a bit more draconian than that. Can you just hang on, guys? I think my phone is doing something weird. I'll be back in 2 seconds. My apologies. Legmuff says, yes, I have top insider info. Apparently the plan is now... my mic's unmuted, yep. I guess you couldn't hear me, but it wasn't. Apparently the plan now is build super rockets underneath the British Isles and blast the islands into space. We will forge a new destiny out there in the stars. Of course, the detractors say we'll all just suffocate in space, but we pay no heed to such fake news. Well, good luck with that, Legmuff, and British people. Have you guys seen a movie called, what is it? Something Machines. It was directed by the guy that did Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson. It's a really well-known novel. Something Machines, I think it's called. And basically it is in the future we've decimated the planet, so all of the big cities have been put on these moving platforms. And I remember the British one, the one that was trying to take over all the other smaller cities by destroying them and absorbing their population. Mortal Machines, I think maybe it could be called. Mortal Machines. Oh, thank you, Galen. Mortal Machines, yes. Reminds me of that when you said that, Galen. Galen says Legmuff, wasn't that a Doctor Who plot? Actually, it was, wasn't it? Was on top of a big space whale or something, I think. The city of Britain in Doctor Who. Legmuff says, by the way, anybody want to see a very early work in progress edit of my Bright Spark animation? Very early work and rough around the edges, but love to get your thoughts. Sure, I always love looking at the stuff you guys make. Legmuff says, nope, Mortal Engines, I thought it was. Yes, actually, you could be correct. Yes, I think you're right, Legmuff. I think it is called Mortal Engines. I thought it was Machines, but I think it is Engines, you're right. Actually, the movie wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was fun. So yeah, I could recommend you watching it, Sniper Girl. It's a good escape for a couple of hours or for a movie. Sniper Girl says, Legmuff, yes, don't have to ask. That's exactly right. As Sniper Girl says, you never have to ask me, boys and girls, if you want to show any of your work. Just don't post links in Twitch chat unless you're a sub, but post them in the Discord server. Legmuff says, posted the video in the gallery in Discord. Okay, let's check it out. So again, for anyone that doesn't know, Legmuff is creating a pilot episode of a series called Bright Sparks, his own original creation. And I'm just, if you want to know more about me, go to phildoes3d.com. You guys know the spiel. This is the MP4 that Legmuff posted. Let's check it out.
Victory! They're gaining on this Bright Spark. Man, why Colton is goo so sour? Maybe because we stole the master hacker from them? Back. We stole it back, Plug. There's a difference. I don't think they see it that way. You worry too much.
Notice I'm trying not to talk over it. I'll check out chat 2 secs.
I think I'm gonna be sick. If you want this, come and get it. Oh, yes! Hold on, Plug.
You put a lot of work into it, Legmuff. It's quite a lengthy segment.
Yes!
Very nice, really well done. You put a, like I said, you put a lot of work into that. Animation nice as usual from you, Legmuff, so no complaints there. Let me catch up with the chat now. Legmuff says, as before, it's a Dropbox link, but plays the video as a browser. Yep, the voices in this will not be the final voices. That's just placeholder voices I did for now. Cool. Chiwatara, good to see you, Chiwatara, says morning Phil, and chat morning to you too, Chiwatara. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're well. Sniper Recco, good to see you as well, buddy. Hello to you too. Legmuff says, there we go, still lots of work to be done. But you put a lot of work into it so far, I can see. And it's looking cool, Legmuff. Android Lost says, nice, Legmuff, yep. Yeah, I loved it too. I think you did a great job, Legmuff. And my voices were going to be a question I had, but you've answered that, so that's good. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad for you guys, but if you want to check it out on your own, jump onto the Discord server and check out the link there that Legmuff has posted. The reason I mentioned the audio is because my mic would have been picking it up from my monitor speakers as well as it being sent over NDI, so I'm not sure how the audio came through for you guys. But the audio wasn't the important thing, it was the animation and that is done very nicely. And it's an early pilot, remember guys, so don't judge too harshly here. He's going to be doing a lot more stuff to it, so but it looks amazing. Andrew Loss says, I can't imagine how long all that animation took. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. You've put a lot of work into it, Legmuff. You really have. Chiwatara says, weekend was good. Lots of sculpting and hanging out with family. You're good, which is good to hear. That's what I like to hear. You guys are good and you're doing some sculpting, which is cool. Legmuff says, I started from scratch in February, but had a 3-week downtime while I was ill and didn't get much done. Well, I think between February, what have we in April, February, March, you've done a lot of work for that couple of months, particularly considering the 3 weeks you were down. Sniper Girl says to Chiwatara, doing well, got a lot of work done on the dragon. Yes, and the dragon is looking very nice. I'll show a picture of that in 2 seconds, Sniper Girl. Yeah, so jump on the Discord server, guys and girls, but Legmuff, it looks wonderful. I can't wait to see the series. Should be cool, really cool. I like this little character too. He's very cute. Very nice work, Legmuff. And again, guys and girls, jump on the Discord server if you want to watch it in your own time. Now let's have a look at Sniper Girl, because she did some photogrammetry work on a dragon. So she took some photos of a dragon sculpture and turned it into a 3D model. I'm just trying to look at what the best ones to show will be. Let's have a look at this one. Again, I'm really keen for you guys and girls to do photogrammetry because it's the way of the future. It's the way of the past as well. It's been used a lot in film. It's being used more in games now, and I use it in ArchViz, so I encourage you all to do some photogrammetry because it's fun. I'll just grab a couple of these links and show you. And I'll grab the close-up one that you posted, Sniper Girl, as well. And we can check them out. Okay, so this is the sculpture, and she's done a beautiful job of picking it up in photogrammetry here. Beautiful job. Nicely captured. Now, of course, Sniper Girl has gone into Substance Painter here. I was reading in Discord, and she's actually added some of the gold leaf and some of the red paint. That wasn't part of the original model that she photographed. So I just wanted to point that out as well. She's again done a beautiful job at texturing it up in Substance Painter. And this is the closer shot here where we get a nice look at the texture, and again, beautiful job, really nicely done. I believe Sniper Girl is using a program called Metashape by Agisoft, which is a great program and very economical as well. Well, when I say economical, it's still a couple of $100, I think, but compared to the other software, it's quite good value for money. There is a free version of photogrammetry software if you guys and girls want to get into it, but you don't want to spend any money, called Alice Vision, which Sniper Echo actually put me onto. I haven't used this myself, but I do encourage you to check it out. I just popped a link here in chat if you guys want to look at it. And that's completely free open source software to do photogrammetry. And it looks quite capable from what I can see of their examples here. But yes, beautiful, beautiful work, Sniper Girl. Really nicely done. Original model was all wood, Sniper Girl says. It is brilliant, I agree, Legmuff. Alice Vision is okay. You tried it before, Sniper Girl says. Again, I haven't tried it personally, but from what I can see of the captures on their website, it does a good job at capturing objects using photogrammetry. So it's free. Everyone loves free. I mean, maybe you want to try it, but you don't want to spend any money because you don't know if you're going to like doing it. Then use Alice Vision. It's completely free. And if you like it, well, then maybe you can invest in other software if you want to. I love it, Sniper Girl. Absolutely love it. Think you've done a beautiful job. And I love the additions to the texturing you've done to it too. I'm just curious, did you retexture the entire thing? Like, did you remove the original wood and retexture it all? Or did you keep the original wood as an undertexture and overpaint it? I'm just curious. Either way, it looks beautiful. Ian Easy, it's good to see you. Ian, how are you? You just got here? It's a Dragon Photogrammetry. It is, by Sniper Girl, who is one of the mods of the channel here. She took a sculpture, a statue, a wooden statue. She used photogrammetry to capture it. And then she took it into Substance Painter and she overpainted it, or she painted it up. Retextured everything. Oh, well, there you go. She didn't keep the original texture. She retextured it all in Substance Painter, and she's done a beautiful job. Beautiful, beautiful. And again, the capture is really nicely done as well. I believe you said you used like 600 photos, Sniper Girl, which is probably a bit overkill for a statue like that, but hey. But it's good to see you, Ian. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good weekend. Sniper Echo says, yes, it works well. I think the very sharp edges, you need to modify the standard node tree setup to have more control. Sniper Girl says to Ian, yes, was an all wooden sculpture that I did photogrammetry on, did a lot of clean in ZBrush and modelled it a bit. Then modelled a low and textured it in Substance Painter. Again, jump on the Discord server, anyone new to my channel watching me who doesn't know what we're talking about. I've just popped the link in Twitch chat. There's a gallery section where you can show off the work you're doing at the moment, and that's, I think, Tuatara has posted a lovely boot. I'll show that in 2 secs too on the Discord server. There's a gallery section where you can show off your work. There's a tutorial section and tips section where you can read up on some stuff that the users have posted that are good tips and tricks and video tutorials. There's a demo section for demo reels and folios and ArtStation and all that sort of stuff where you can post links to your own work. So everyone should jump on the Discord server. It's free. You can post links there if you're not a sub, because only subs can post links in Twitch chat. Yeah, I think she used Metashape, I'm pretty sure. Ian is asking. I am well, yes, thank you for asking, Ian. Yes, no, I'm well. A few dramas going on in my life at the moment, but I won't bore you guys with those. It's just, yeah, just a few things happening. Nothing to do with work or anything. A good friend of mine is very ill at the moment, so one of my closest friends. But we're not talking about that. We're staying positive and happy today. Sniper Girl says, was 685 photos, medium statue, and really wanted to avoid potential holes. Fair enough, but do bear what I say in mind, guys and girls. There comes a point where more photos is not always better. All it's going to end up doing is slowing down the reconstruction for very little benefit. Once you get a good coverage, taking more photographs, more is never a bad thing, but diminishing returns. The more photos doesn't always mean the better the result, because after a certain number of photos have been processed and it gets a good overall design for the model, then the more photos are just going to slow the render down and could even actually cause the program to start to misalign some photos. The more it has to process, the greater the chances one or two of those photos might start to become a little misaligned. And when a photograph gets misaligned during the alignment stage, during the reconstruction stage, what's going to happen is you're going to get a fuzzy outline on your model. So you're going to have a lot of points that aren't going to line up exactly. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying don't take a lot of photos. I'm just saying once after a certain point, you're not going to benefit too much from more photos. Legmuff says, so like, how exactly does photogrammetry work again? Do you do a video recording? You can around a model. I guess it's best to do with a green screen or non-cluttered background. Depending on the software you're using, you don't need a green screen at all. Some software is better at removing the background than others. Like I use reality capture by capturing reality. That's a mouthful. In which case you really don't need to worry about the background. It's quite easy to remove. If you use things like Agisoft Metashape, or it used to be called Photoscan, doing an alpha channel will give you an easier, cleaner result, a better result. So if you're using Photoscan or Metascan or Metashape or whatever they're calling it, certainly having an alpha channel will benefit. If you're using things like context capture or reality capture, not so much. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you don't need an alpha channel even with Photoscan or Metascan. It just helps the software create a cleaner model if you do have an alpha. So you don't need a green screen necessarily. Generally you don't. And you can use video, but I would not recommend video unless it's really high quality video, because the higher the resolution of the image, the better the photogrammetric object will be. Generally, video is a lower resolution than like a DSLR camera or a phone camera. So unless you're shooting in 4 or 8K, then I wouldn't use video. I'd use a camera, but you can use video. Let me see here. Sniper Girl says, actually use reality. Oh, I can use reality capture. Well, there you go. Found that it works better, and it's very fast too. Reality capture, incredibly fast, and it does an amazing job, as you can see here too. With all credit to Sniper Girl for the actual using it and taking the photos and all the rest of that, because there's still work involved. It's not just taking a picture and getting a model. You know, it's the skill of the photographer as well that comes into how good the model is going to be in the software. So. Ian says sometimes the background is helpful for the software to stitch up images. That's exactly right as well, which is a good point. You are completely correct. Yes, the background can actually help the software to align the photos. So it picks out points in the background to align all of your photos to get the actual 3D model. So yes, the background can be very, very helpful. Sniper Girl says the Legmuff basically uses photos of objects that you take and makes the model from it, pretty much. Ian says an overkill on many images means more noise usually. Yeah, and again, that's true. More noise and the risk that it may actually misalign some of the photos. Because you've got to remember, this software is working out exactly where you were standing in a 3D space. And it's reconstructing all of that to make the model. So the more photos, the more work, the more chance there is going to be a misalignment. Chiotara says, yep, I agree. It's more a base model. No point processing more than you have to. Either way, you'll need to clean it up regardless. You do. And that's the other thing. You're never going to be able to take the model directly from the software, the photogrammetry software, and bring it into your 3D program. You're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to do a lot of poly reduction generally as well, because photogrammetry creates models that are tens of millions of polygons, which is far more than what you'd ever want to use. So you've got to do a poly reduction. You generally got to clean the model up, which I generally do in ZBrush, and I think that's what Sniper Girl said she did too here. And I also generally sometimes do a reprojection on the texture, because the UVs that the photogrammetry software creates are not always the best. So it can help to re-UV map it and re-bake out the texture inside your 3D program, which is what I do as well. Not always, it depends. Sometimes the UV software can make a nice UV map, but generally it doesn't. It's not too smart, UV mapping. Sniper Echo says, by the way, I had a job in a pinch. I got a cheap drone and an attachment for a GoPro. Honestly, it was a fantastic outcome, even compared to a way more expensive drone setup. GoPros are great little cameras. Chuatara says, used a drone to do some topological maps from a video, extracted images with a single direction flight. We use drones at the studio as well, so we use those DJ Mavic or whatever it's called, Pro 2 I think it is. We've got a couple of those, I think the studio has. So, but you don't need a drone to do photogrammetry. Your camera, the phone and your camera will do a good job. As long as it's 8 megapixels or higher, you should be fine. Sniper Girl says, there was a company that recently did 1,800 photos on some food just for photogrammetry. I'm sure they did, but that doesn't mean they know what they're doing. Look, trust me guys, I've done photogrammetry for a while. Once you get past a certain point, you're just making life harder for yourself if you take too many photos. Anything intricate, this is an intricate sculpture, so a lot of photos would be recommended. I don't know, 600 still might be a bit much. More photos better than too few. Too many is better than too few, because too few is going to cause a disaster, but yeah, there comes a point where you really shouldn't overdo it. Chuatara says 4K camera. Yeah, 4K camera, you'll get some decent photogrammetry out of a 4K camera. I'd still prefer to do still camera work when I can, because you're going to get the best quality from a still camera. But video is a good way to actually do photogrammetry, because you don't have to be so concerned with moving around the model. It's a lot quicker as well because you don't move so much. You get the camera to move on the drone. Or you get a video camera, you can walk around the model doing it with a video camera as well. Can be simpler, but the results sometimes not be as good. Sniper Girl says, I think I'm good on how many pictures I took. I think you are too. Legmuff says, I'm bumping photogrammetry right up my stuff to learn list. This thing is getting as soon as possible status. It's really, I've told you guys, that's why I did a stream devoted, 2 streams devoted to it, where we compared 3 different pieces of photogrammetry software. I talked you through the pros and the cons of each one of them. I gave you tips and tricks on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be. They are in the video section of my Twitch channel here if you want to check them out, and they're also on my YouTube channel. So if you guys that are watching and want to know about that, you can watch those videos, those streams on my YouTube and on my Twitch channel under the video section. Everybody can watch my videos. They're not restricted to anyone in particular, so you don't have to be a sub to watch them. Anyone can watch them. And it's really useful. It's used a lot. It's always been used in film. It's starting to be used a lot more in games, and it's being used in ArchViz as well, which is what I do for the ArchViz studio at the moment. Sniper's telling Sniper Girl to check out that phone app, which is again, if you want to know what he's talking about, jump on the Discord server. It's been spoken about there. Yeah, the main problem you're going to have with attaching cameras to drones is going to be the stability of the footage. So you got to make sure that that you have really good stability on the camera on the drone, because you don't want any shake. Any blurring of the photograph is going to be a disaster for photogrammetry. So long as you stabilize the camera properly, that's the most important thing. If you're doing drone photogrammetry, you must make sure the camera is really stable. Which is why the studio used one of those DJ Maverick 2 things, because it has a really stabilization for the camera is really good. Sniper says he's got access to an 8K camera plus a drone setup. Oh, gimme. 8K camera would be unreal. Yeah, an 8K camera you're going to get some nice shots from. You should be okay with an 8K camera. They're still incredibly expensive though. Sniper Girl says to Legmuff, I used a Galaxy S6 for photogrammetry thus far. Had a CLR. I actually saw the lens you posted too as well, Sniper Girl. A CLR lens to cut down on glare and make the image a bit sharper. which is fine. Filters are fine, but don't alter the focal distance on the lens itself. Keep it all standard. But a filter, it can certainly aid in your photogrammetry. You don't want to post-process any of the images though after you've taken them either. Don't jump into Photoshop and start processing the images, because that'll throw out the photogrammetry software. So that's a no-no. Don't do that. You can make some small adjustments like to lighting, like to contrast or something, but don't make any alterations to the image. Don't crop the image. It must be kept exactly as it was when you photographed it. Otherwise, the photogrammetry software will not be able to process it properly. I'm just going to let's check out this boot that Chiwatara has posted, because it's really cool too. I'm going to start with the, are you using UDIMs, or is this from ZBrush, Chiwatara? ZBrush and Substance Painter, okay. I was curious, because when you use UDIMs, it looks a bit like this, where you get multicolored things happening. But this is in ZBrush, obviously, and again, impressive. You've modeled it all up by hand, which is very cool. And this is the actual image that Chiwatara posted of the model textured. Beautiful work. Really, really lovely. You've done a great job. Love the texturing. I see we've got some dirt or mud or something down here, which is nice to see. I don't want things to be too clean. They always look fake when they're too clean, so it's nice work, nice texturing work. Very nice. And Chiwatara says balance between appropriate shutter speed, ISO and f-stop, and a decent lens, of course. It always helps. Sniper Girl says 8K camera. I'm jealous as well, Sniper Girl, don't worry. Yeah, the drones are surprisingly easy to fly. People think that flying a drone is difficult, but it's really not. Not now. The software built into them stabilizes them auto-magically. There's really not difficult to fly a drone. Sniper Echo says, side note, I always wanted to shoot the Notre Dame Cathedral, but the building burnt down. It's burning down as we speak. I know. We were talking about it when I first started streaming. It's terrible, because I was telling the guys and girls how much I love Gothic architecture, and it was one of my favourite buildings, Notre Dame. And I've never actually been there to actually view it in person, so it's really disappointing. I really won't be able to now unless they try and rebuild it. I think the facade, they can save the facade, so they may be able to rebuild the interior, hopefully. Let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and I hope they didn't lose too much artwork that was in there as well. It's a very sad day. Very, very sad. Chiwatara says ZBrush mainly and Substance. Yep. And again, beautiful job of the texturing in Substance Painter, Chiwatara. And nice model too. Chiwatara says all generic textures, sadly still an area I need to improve on. Well, that's okay. It looks very nice. There's nothing wrong with using generic textures. That's what they're there for. It's always nice, and this is why I like to use Mari, because I like to get in and hand paint some stuff. It feels more arty to me. But that's just me. I like getting in there with the pen and doing some stuff by hand. Substance Painter is a great program for your physically based materials. You can still get in and do it by hand as well in Substance Painter, don't get me wrong. But most people tend to use the standard substances, which I'm guilty of as well if I use Substance Painter. Or they use a smart material, not a smart mask, a smart material, and they don't bother doing anything more after they apply a smart material. Which again is fine, but if everyone does it, everyone's stuff starts to look the same. We do have Alchemist now, which I might jump into today actually and check out quickly, where you can make your own substances, which is very cool. So things don't look quite so generic. Sniper Girl says, how do you feel there? Sniper Echo says less than 2 months the Notre Dame Cathedral would have been shot with that 8K drone setup. Oh no! I'm jealous of you guys in Europe being so close to all that beautiful architecture. We've mentioned it before. You've got some beautiful buildings in Europe. Beautiful, beautiful. That I would love to do photogrammetry on. But it means flying out there and photographing everything. And I would still photograph Notre Dame even partially destroyed before it's maybe rebuilt, because I think that could be a mega cool model. You know, the actual shell of Notre Dame turned into photogrammetry. You could use that. That could be really cool as a game model in a level somewhere. It would be really cool. Just, you know, even destroyed stuff works really well in games, and it works really well in renders as well. So keep that in mind. Not everything has to be perfectly nice. You're not sure what to do for your holidays now, Sniper Echo? But there's so much beautiful architecture in France that you could be, if you want to go to France, that you can photograph. Not just Notre Dame. The city is full of amazingly beautiful architecture. Pardon me. Tuatara says, I want to get my head around Substance and Houdini, my current missions. Well, Substance Painter is a good one to learn, for sure. And Houdini. And Sniper Girl says, yeah, never use standard substances and don't just use smart masks. No. Did so much work with the materials on the dragon. Yeah. You want to get in and do it by hand. If you're going to get the best results by doing it by hand. Less of a generic look. I'm a bit, you've noticed with my stuff here, particularly the building that we did when I did furniture, because I had so much furniture I had to do, I did make heavy use of smart masks, but I still went over with the stylus pen, with the Wacom, and went through and altered it a little bit, just so that we didn't have that generic look too much. Sniper says that's a good idea. Sniper Girl says honestly a partly destroyed charred version of it would look cool. I think so too. It would look major cool. That's what I'd be doing if I was you, Sniper Echo. I'd head to Paris and photograph it destroyed, because I think it would be so cool. Chiratara says was in a hurry to have a look. Still working on the human that goes in the boot. Right. Uploaded the block out. Got to get back later as well. All going well. Good. Okay, this is the character that Tuatara is going to be putting the boot on. Nice. Is she wearing a helmet? Yeah, she's wearing a helmet. Cool. And are you doing this for anything in particular, Tuatara? Are you like, you doing a game model? You doing a render? You doing it for your portfolio? Just curious. But she looks very nice. The helmet's really interesting as well. It's going to look very cool when she's all textured up. I love the boot. I don't care if you use generic textures. I think it looks good. Nice work. All of you guys and girls, very nice work. We're going to continue working on our Temple of the Winds here that we're texturing up at the moment. For anyone watching me and thinking, is this guy ever going to show us any of his own work? Just for your own amusement, Tuatara? Like, well, that's fair enough. You're going to try low poly and stick it in Unreal. Well, that's a good thing to be doing. Even if it's just for your own amusement, it's good practice to do that sort of stuff. Because you never know, in the future you might want to make a game or something, and learning how to do it all now will make making your game later on much easier. Because remember, everyone can use the Unreal Engine now for free. I sound like I'm spruiking for Epic Games. They don't need me to spruik for them. But it's free. Unity as well, of course. Unity is another game engine you can use. That's free, I believe. And you just pay a commission to Epic Games on however many sales you make. I'm not sure how it works for Unity. So yes, we were working last week on the columns here. Let me just sort of zoom in here. Max is being a bit annoying. So yes, we were working on our columns. We're going to continue doing that today. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to we've created one texture map already, and I'm reusing that a few times. I'm going to create another one so that we don't notice that we're reusing the same texture map all the time. And then I'm probably going to rotate a couple of these columns around so we don't notice the repetition. So let's first of all jump back into Substance Painter. Let's open up the column, that column we created here, so this project. And I'm just going to make a few alterations to the material so we can save out a second version. So this is our column, the first version of our column here. I'm not going to make any changes here to the texture, but I'm just going to make some changes to the masks. So first things first, let's look at the mask we're using here for the green tile. Let's just look at the level. No, we don't want to change the level. The curvature gradient, I might pull that down a little bit more so we have more of the tile exposed than the first one. The first one was up the top, now we're sort of almost halfway down the column. We can look at the world space normal. It's probably not really what we want. We have a scratches amount here as well. If I zoom in on the top of the column, we probably get a better look at that. And I might pull that back. So all it's doing is it's bringing back a little bit more of the original pattern, because I want it to look like the pattern has started to scrape off the tile or worn off the tile because of age. So we'll pull up on the scratches. I won't change the scatter amount. I'm going to go jump up to the dirt now. We'll pull back so we can look at it. I'm just going to make some changes to that mask. I might pull back a little on the global balance. The world space normal. I might pull up a little on that so there's a bit more dirt showing up. The position gradient. This sort of starts at the top and works its way down. Just going to pull back a little bit on that one. And the thickness. Might just pull up a little bit on the thickness. I'm going to jump back to that underlying tile again. I might actually pull up a little bit on the grunge amount. Let's turn on triplanar blending. We want to make sure that is on. We can do an invert to see what that gets us. That pushes the tile to the base and the pattern to the top. No, I don't like that. I want the pattern to be toward the bottom and the tile to be toward the top. So that might be okay. Just pulling it down a little bit more. That'll be good. This is the second version of what we wanted. So let's export this texture. I'm actually just going to do a save here as save as and do it. And we'll call it column 2. Just in case we want to come back and make any changes. I'll call it column 2. Let's export our textures. Column 2, that's good. So I need to just rename the texture here to column 2. Now we can do an export. I'm just going to do another save. We will export them as a 4K texture. I know it's overkill, but we can always knock it back. Let's wait for Substance to do that. Do remember though, guys and girls, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me in chat. But if all you want to do is watch, that's okay. I get that. There are times I don't want to talk to people and the guys or girls streaming, I just want to watch. So, I understand. Tamana, thank you for the resubscription, the 22-month subscription. You are awesome, Tamana, so thank you very much. And let me also welcome This Evil Within for following the channel. I do appreciate it, This Evil Within. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Also, guys and girls, though, like I said, I know I sound like I harp on about it all the time, but do join the Discord server. There's the link I've just popped in chat. If you're watching this stream back on a Friday and Saturday, you can also join the Discord by clicking the blue graphic below my stream in my panels, or just type !Discord in Twitch chat at any time to get a link that way, an invite link that way. And Sniper Echo has posted in Discord the mobile app he was talking about for photogrammetry. He uses it to test how an object will come up in photogrammetry. So let us close this down. Yes, do a save. Let's jump back into Max. Okay, let us jump into the material editor. And we are going to create a new DirectX shader. First things first, I throw down a standard material and a bitmap. So we want temp, substance, column 2. We want the texture map. Now I'm going to throw down a standard material, and we're going to create a DirectX shader, so let's just throw that down. We can get rid of that, we don't need it. This is the only bit we're interested in. So first things first is we change it to an interactive shader. Let's load up the normal map, column 2. Make sure we change the override the gamma to 1. Then the color map. Always override the gamma on all of them. Metallic map. It's sort of being hidden behind me. I'll just hide my camera for 2 seconds again to remind you. Make sure you hit override gamma, because Max works on a gamma of 2.2. You want a gamma of 1, which is what algorithmic painter, Substance Painter works on. If you don't override the gamma, you're not going to get the right result. The roughness map. And finally the ambient occlusion, because we don't have an emissive. I'm just going to pipe that shader into that DirectX shader. Now this does nothing for the shader. It's a way to show me what texture the DirectX shader is using, because without that it just stays grey. So it's mainly just for my housekeeping, so I know what texture it is. It has no effect on the actual shader itself. Hooking this up. Sniper Girl says, damn, Max always out of date. What do you mean by out of date? I'm using Max 2020 here, by the way. So the new version of 3D Studio Max. I'm just checking these. Sniper Girl says, having to force the textures to convert from painted to max. Oh, she's saying Maya is better. Okay. Of course she is. This is the only way, though, to get the texture to show up in max is to use a DirectX shader. Otherwise, you can't bring in the roughness and the metallic and all that goodness. It's really just for us while I'm texturing it up so I can mix and balance my colors correctly. Because without it, I can't really see exactly what the texture is going to look like. Sniper Girl says to Android Lust would never say that. And this is actually the DirectX shader was created in Max for Stingray, which was the game engine that Autodesk created. So Sniper Girl says, I love Maya, don't get me wrong. Yes, I know a few people that love Maya too. Now there's something I'm going to change here. I might not do it just yet. Let me just see here. I'm just going to open up the shader. I do like the shader though, because like I said, you have all of the option here to go into the node to change anything, which is always really handy. Yeah, it is. I'll come to this in a minute. The first thing I'm going to do here is turn these on. So I need to use normal map, set that to 1 to turn it on. Use the color map to 1, the metallic map to 1, the roughness map to 1, and the ambient occlusion to 1. And I'm going to apply it to one of these columns, and then we're going to talk about something. Let me just close that for a minute. Let me sort of move in here so we can get a close-up of the column. So I'm going to apply that texture to this column. We're going to jump back into Max. Now, you see the color difference between that one and this one? I was talking about this the other day. The reason it looks darker than what it did in Algorithmic Painter is because Painter uses a HDRI map in the background. So because the tile is reflective, it's bouncing a lot of light on the texture, which lightens it up. But you'll notice this one looks like it did in Substance Painter, but this new one looks darker. And now there's a reason for that, and it has to do with the shader. Sniper Girl says, did you see the header I did based on that? Yes, I did see that actually. I want to talk about that too. Based on the dragons for your art station. I saw it. It does look good. Android Lust says, I remember I told myself to learn Max like a year ago, but ZBrush got in the way. That's ZBrush. Well, you need a year to learn ZBrush's interface because it's so terrible. I'll talk about your header in 2 seconds. I just want to talk about this shader. So we noticed this. Both of these textures should be identical. They should look the same. They were both created using the same materials. But you notice this one is lighter, this one is darker. This one looks like it does in Painter, this one looks darker. And that's to do with the shader. So to fix that, we have to make some alterations to the DirectX shader here. The first thing we need to do is we need to hit this little button here that says Make Unique. We want to make it unique. The next thing we have to do is open up the shader. We have to go to the actual shader main node. And the reason it's doing that is because of the amount of lights. It's only got one light, so we're going to up that to 2. Just give Max a minute here. There we go. Now, the other thing to remember if you're using this DirectX shader is you must save it before you close it. Otherwise, it loses that change and goes back to 1. So we need to export the graph. Just give it a name. Just going to call it column 2. Save it anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter. I'll just save it here into the shader FX folder that Max comes with. Now it's exported and saved. We can close that down and it will remember that change. So now if we go back, you can see the color is matching. It's lighter. So basically what we've done here is we've told the shader to use 2 lights instead of 1. And that extra light helps make the texture look the way it did in Substance Painter. So, and you also see that we get our reflection happening on the tile. But basically I need this just at this stage while I'm texturing so that I can get all of the things to blend together correctly and I can see what they're going to look like. If I don't use the shader, even though I'm not really going to be using it in Max, because I'm probably going to render this in Eon View. I'm still going to need the physically based material for View, so I still need to see how it's going to look in Max, particularly so I can get the colour mixing correct, so I can get all of the colours to blend together nicely, which you can't do if you can't see what it's going to look like. So that's the whole reason for setting up the DirectX shader in Max. It is a lot of work, I agree. Generally, like I said, if I'm making a model that won't be using physically based materials, then I won't use a DirectX shader, I'll just use a normal Max shader. If I'm doing a V-Ray render, then I'll use a V-Ray shader. But this is really the only way to get a physically based material to look correct in the viewport in Max. Even Max has a physical material, again I spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, which you usually use when you do a render, but it doesn't have a slot for ambient occlusion, which you don't normally use in a render, but with a physically based material you can use, and I do use, not all the time, but sometimes. And when I do the renders in Eon View, it requires an ambient occlusion map as well, or it uses one, it can use one, so I want to use it there too. So that's Max for you. Nothing simple. But I love Max. Love it, love it. Now, I did want to talk about, and I do see, Sniper Girl, you posted the link to Instant Meshes, a tutorial in the Discord, which is cool, in the tutorial section. I've spoken about Instant Meshes before as well. So, I wonder why that didn't show up. Thank you, Artwork Asylum, for the follow as well. It didn't show up in my Streamlabs chatbot, but I see it in Discord. So thank you, Artwork Asylum, for following the channel on Twitch. Yeah, so I've spoken about Instant Meshes before on the stream here. It is a good piece of software, and it's completely free as well. You should check it out if you want to do some retopology for free. For free! I'm just trying to find your image here, Sniper Girl. Okay, I'm just going to look at this, copy the link and open it up in the browser. This is a header that Sniper Girl wants to create for her ArtStation. The header is very nice. My only suggestion would have been, I would have thought it would look cool, is if you start your model this way, like here, like you have, and I see you're rotating your model here, which is a great idea. But it looks like, actually you may have done what I was thinking. Yeah, it's a great idea to have your model in those sections as you're rotating it around the different ways. I think that's a brilliant idea. I really love that. Which is what you've done, which looks great. Nice. She's starting from textured and going to occluded. I'd probably go from occluded and finish on textured personally. It's just sort of the way I would think it would run. You'd run from occluded to your wireframe to your textured, but it doesn't really matter. It's yours. You make it the way you want it, and it doesn't look bad. It certainly looks very nice. And yep, no, I love it. I think you've done a great job of designing it up, and I love the way you're slowly rotating the model around to get to the different types of shots. That's a great idea, a really great idea. It's a very clever thing to do, and it looks very effective too. So, nope, I love it. I think it looks great. And yeah, my only criticism would be I'd swap it around and go occlusion to textured on the other end. But either or, it looks good like this, so I don't see a problem. But yeah, generally you go from occluded through to your textured at the end. But that's a nitpicky thing. It looks great. Love it. Okay, so Sniper Girl says, glad you like it. Honestly, did the rotations like that to put the emphasis on my name information. ArtStation has okay, no, what's interesting, but I still think it's a great idea because it's a photogrammetry object and that's what you're showing. To start with the model in one direction and then just start to rotate the model around until you get to the occlusion at the other end. I think that's a brilliant idea. Really, really brilliant idea. I love it. I may have to steal it. No, it looks great. Yeah, and they're the things when you're creating headers for your websites like your Twitter or your YouTube or whatever it is, to keep in mind, because they do overlay text and stuff in different spots on your banner. So, my ArtStation, my banner on my ArtStation, I had to redo that I think about 3 times to get it correct, based on where they were actually placing the information, because I designed it first and then I forgot about it, uploaded it, and the text was in the wrong spot, so I had to remove the text again and again and again and again. Where is my ArtStation? Where do I get to my banner? Show me my banner. No, show me my banner. Ugh, I hate ArtStation. Why do this? Why? Alright, you want to be like that, that's fine. Give me 2 secs. There are different links to get to your ArtStation account. That's what's going on here. This is the one I want. That's my ArtStation, by the way, if anyone wants to look at my work. This is the page I want to get to. And even here it's still a little over my text, so yeah, I had to move my background here numerous times so it didn't completely cover everything up. So that's always a problem. Thank you, Sniper Girl. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, so there's two different types of links you can get to your ArtStation account via. And there's actually 3, I think, if you have a store on ArtStation, which I do. Nice. Yeah, so because it puts this information here right in the middle of the banner. This is nice. What did you scale it up, Sniper Girl? Did you do the crop, or is it cropping it itself? I can't remember. I know Twitch, when you do a banner on Twitch does cropping automatically based on the size of your screen. It might be something to do like that as well. Sniper Girl says Dragon isn't 100% done. We'll update the header when done. It cropped itself. I did the recommended resolution. Yeah, it does. Twitch does the same thing for your banner on your Twitch page. It automatically crops based upon, I think it does that for the resolution of the screen the person's watching it, looking at it on, which can make it difficult if you're a perfectionist and you like to have things exactly the way you want them. Even cropped, it still looks nice. We do lose the dragon head, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. And this is Sniper Girl's ArtStation. She's got some nice work here as well. Again, everyone, jump on the Discord server, put links to your ArtStation on Discord, so we can all check them out. I'm just going to start rotating some of these around now. So I'm going to rotate you around. I'm going to assign that texture to this one as well. And we're going to rotate it around. This is just so people don't notice we're reusing the same texture. The other option, which is what I was originally going to do, was create 3 versions of the texture, but I think 2 will be enough. Let's rotate you around. Now this is interesting. Looks like the UV mapping on this column is not right. We'll come back to that in 2 seconds. Let's have a look at these others. The UV should be exactly the same. And this one is okay. And this one. And I've noticed Max has can sometimes do this. It really messes up the UVs sometimes. If you're duplicating or mirroring a piece of geometry, it can really lose its mind and mess up your UVs, which looks like what's happened here. But that's an easy fix. All we need to do is do an unwrap on this one. We can do a copy. I can actually do this another way as well. I don't have to do it through the modifier. I can do it through the where are we? Through the because I've reinstalled Max, I haven't updated all of my buttons yet. I can do it through the where am I? Channel info. I must add that actually. I'm just going to do that now real quick. I'm going to add one more button. And let's add the channel info because I use it quite a lot. Where have we moved it to? Yeah, you could also do it through the channel info tab here. But we'll do the modifier version because it's probably easier for you guys if you're a Max user and you want to change something. And now our UVs are back. Let's collapse that stack. And let's delete that modifier because we don't need it. Make sure I hit the trash can icon and not the delete key on the keyboard. There we go. Yeah, no, I don't know. A Sniper's girl is asking me if I somehow forgot to UV map the column. I don't think I did. I think what happened is I did a duplicate and Max just lost its mind when I did the copy of the geometry, because that seems to happen in Max sometimes. It has been like that for years. Max versions all the way back to 2016. I don't know why they don't fix it. Autodesk, who knows? They've been told about it. Chag, hey Chag, it's good to see you. How are you, Chag? I know I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I can't get my tongue around it, but I'll call you Chag. Did I call you Chag last time? It's good to see you though. A Sniper Girl says hi to Chag. So let me just focus here so we can rotate around and we've got something to focus on. So yeah, even though we're only using two different textures, because we can rotate the columns, people are not going to notice that we're reusing the same texture over and over and over again. Or the same two textures, because there are two different versions. So two textures and a couple of rotations of some columns and we should be good. People won't notice that it's the same textures. Alrighty. Let's just do a quick save here because we don't want to lose the work we've done. Chag says, I'm doing great, my friend. How about yourself? Chag it is. Yes, thank you, Chag. Yes, no, I'm good. I'm good. Busy with work. Such is life. But it's all good. I like what I do, so I don't mind. But it's good to see you, Chag, and good to hear you well. Good opportunity to have a copy while this thing saves out. What do we texture up next, guys? What will we work on next? Do you want to see me do the tiles for the main part of the terrace, or do you want to see me do some work on the railings, or maybe these white bits that go along the columns? If you got a preference, let me know. Actually, what we're going to do right now is I'm going to jump into Algorithmic Alchemist. This program right here. And this is still in beta at the moment. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Sniper Girl says you've been working your way down, so maybe the white bits on the columns. Yep, I think so. I think so too, Sniper Girl. So Project Alchemist. It's still in beta, produced by Algorithmic. It's a way for you to create new substances by either using bitmaps or mixing your substances from your library. So we're going to look at that to do the little white bits on the columns inside of Max here. So we're going to start texturing up these little white bits here, and they're going to be metal. And let's create a new an interesting substance for them, shall we? Now I have created a substance already, which is this one here. This is the one I'm going to use for the tiles for that terrace. And if I come in here, you can see I've added moss and I've also added dirt. Well, of course, I'm probably going to end up using a smart mask as well once we jump into Substance Painter. So basically, I started with the original tile, which was actually this coloured one here. I wanted it to be more of a blue and green to better match the colours we're using in the terrace. So changed the colour on the tile, then I added the moss, and lastly I added a little bit of dirt, just to make it look a little bit more interesting, not so clean. But we're going to create a new one now. We want metal for those pieces on the columns. So let's have a look here. Let us have a look at the scratched aluminium. Might be okay, let's keep going. Carbon fiber, no. No, we don't want copper. We don't want silk either. No, we don't want those. Yeah, we have a couple of different metals here. No, we don't want that one. This is marble, I think. Yeah, no, we don't want that. What else we got here? Metal. What's this metal? Might be interesting. I'll leave that one there. Aluminium, linen. This cast iron, it can be really interesting. It's a really interesting looking material. Has a lot of variation. That could be cool. I'm just going to throw them down, then we'll look at our blending. We have this metal floor. Just because it says it's a floor doesn't mean we can't use it for something else. Again, really interesting. We have rust pieces going through it. Sniper Girl says, I still need to work with Alchemist. Yeah, I haven't played with it very much either. I haven't had a chance to really have a good play around with Alchemist myself. But I thought it might be a good thing to look at while we're doing this on stream to create something that might be a bit more different from these standard substances before we jump into Painter to start altering it a little bit. We're probably getting to enough layers here, but I'm just going to see if there's something else that might be cool. Used metal. Rusty iron, let's have a look at that one. This one I've used quite a bit as well, just to help to make it look a bit more rusted. Now let's just make some alterations and play around here with the underlying metal first. So I'm just going to turn a couple of these off and we'll jump back down to the first one we added. Let's play with the height offset a bit. So I'm just going to pull back so we get a bit of a mix between the two. Pull up a little bit on the contrast. See what the inverted mask looks like. No. I'm not going to play with the scaling. I think the scaling is okay. And this material match, this is a way for the software to match the two materials to blend better. Changes the color of the upper material to better blend with the lower one. Let's throw a random seed down. Look at the advanced parameters and we can change some of the scratches. Scratch angle, we're not really, let's look at the dirtiness. You can sort of see that changing a little bit. I'm going to pull it up so it is quite dirty. And the metal roughness. Yeah, I'm going to pull up a bit on the roughness as well. Let's move up to the next material now. Just going to pull back so we get a better look at it. Let's look at the height offset on this one. So this is going to start to pull a little bit of the rusty metal, the dark rusty metal in. I'm not going to change the scale. Just pull it up so the color matches a little bit better. Change the random seed a couple of times. There we go. The roughness. Scratches and the intensity of the scratches. No, I won't pull up too high in the scratches, I don't think. Let's move up to the next metal. Sniper Girl says that's actually kind of cool. Think I'll update Alchemist and try it again. Yeah, it is. It's very cool. And I'm only touching on it. There are all these other things you can add to it, which we'll look at in 2 secs. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of this other coloured rust now. See, that's the full-on rust, but I just want a little bit of that lighter rust colour coming through. Here and there. I'm not changing the scale. Just pulling up on the colour match a little bit to better blend them. I might change the random seed a little bit. That's better. Sniper Girl says, do you know if there's a way to bring in scans from Quixel Mixer into Alchemist? Yes, there is. That'll be under the Inspire tab. That's where you can import, I don't know if you mean 3D scans or if you're talking, but you can certainly use textures. You can take photographs and turn those into substances, but you do that under the Inspire tab. I haven't looked at that yet. But this is only the second time I've opened up this program. But I'm sure you can do something like that under Inspire, not under Create though. Because you can certainly create some really nice, interesting substances, SBZAR files, from photographic textures, which is another really great way to create a good library of different substances you can use. You can start using your photographs. I'm just going to pull back just a little bit here. And let's look at the roughness. Pull up a little bit on the roughness. Let's jump to the top material now, which is the rust. Sniper Girl says they're roughness, height, metallic, normal, etc. maps. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. And again, I think you do it under the Inspire tab. But I haven't really looked into this program in depth yet. I've only played with it a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure under the Inspire tab you can bring in that type of thing, Sniper Girl. Let us blend this final top texture, which is not going to be the final because I actually want to add one more material above this. I just want to bring in just a little bit of the rust. Blend the material together a little bit better. Okay, now we have, and I've got to remember where it is. We have all of these different adjustments we can make to any layer within the stack, and I haven't looked at them all myself yet. Let me just have a look at what we got here. Okay, now this is a dirt layer. You can see as I pull it in, it brings in a little bit of dirt on top of that rust. We've got control over how dark we want the dirt to be, how opaque or not. So I'm just going to pull it back a little bit. We can change the color as well. Before I do any of that, I want one more layer on top of this because I don't want those decorative pieces to be all grey on our column here. Just got to wait for Max to load up again. There we go. So yeah, I don't want these to be all grey. I want them to have a bit of colour to them. Back to substance. So I need to add a painted metal. I'm going to add a painted metal on top of this. I don't want it to be blue though, so I'm going to change the colour. What colour do I want it to be? I want it to be an aqua greeny sort of colour, but not that bright, so I'm going to knock back the saturation quite a lot. Just a hint of colour. Alright, now let's look at adding a... Let's look at adding... Actually, before we do that, let's look at the height offset. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to pull a bit of the green in, but I still want some of the rust. I don't want it to be completely hidden, so I'm just pulling a little of the green overpaint in. Now let's have a look at our filters here. Crop, base material, bitmap to material. You can bring in a bitmap here to an image as part of the material as well. Just going to see what the splatter is like. You can add more materials as part of the splatter up here if you want as well. So if I pull up on the ambient occlusion here, it makes the rust become a little bit more prominent. Let's look at the shape. I'm going to change the normal of the... where am I? I might just pull. No, that's actually off anyway, the roughness. Might just pull back a little bit here on the roughness, I think. Maybe a little bit on the height. That's actually the number of materials it's mixing together. Don't know that I actually really like the splatter, to be honest with you. Just going to pull it in just a little bit. And let's see what else we've got here to play with. We do have a rust. Let's have a look at this rust. Rust spreading. The smoothness of the rust. Peel elevation. I might pull up on that so it looks like the rust is peeling up a bit more. Sniper Girl says, problem I had with Alchemist is that I made the mistake of adding all of my materials to it. I have over 300 materials and it caused lag. Yeah, the more materials you have to load up here, the laggier the program might get. But remember too, it's in beta, so the program will get better, but it's still beta. So they're going to be bugs like that, and I'm sure that they'll work out once they get it into a bit more of a polished state. Just going to pull back on the age a little bit. Might pull up here on the strips intensity, so it looks like the rust is running a little bit. The orientation of the drips, no, that was good the way it was. That just allows us to mask it. Sniper Girl says, yeah, true, just got rid of all the material alchemists, going to reinstall it and try it again. Yeah, I have a few here, but not 300. I probably have maybe about 100, maybe 150, and I found it's pretty okay with that many. Just going to turn the mask back off. Let's see what's under advanced parameters. I'm going to pull back a bit on the normal intensity. I'm just going to pull up a little bit on the ambient occlusion intensity because I want the rust to look older. Sniper Girl says, I own 393 materials. There you go. And you can make many more now with Alchemist. You can make as many as you can come up with. No, I won't change those. And the blending, I won't change those. Just going to pull back a bit on the rust amount because we don't want to go too overboard. Sniper Girl says we'll probably install half of them, might be okay. Yeah, like I said, I've probably got about 100, maybe 150, and I've found that that's okay. It hasn't slowed it down. I probably wouldn't go more than 150 though. Okay, the good thing about Alchemist here is we can save it out, apply it to the object, and come back and make some modifications. So let us save this out as a texture. So we need to export it. Export current view. I'm just going to export it to my desktop for now. And we're going to save out as 2K. And I'm going to call this one, what do I call this one? My Green Metal Rust. That'll do. My Green Metal Rust. Base color, the normal, the roughness, metallic to heighten ambient occlusion. Let's export that. You've got yours, but I'm always up for more materials, Sniper Girl, for sure. More substance materials, you can never have too many. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to jump back into Max. Actually, I just want to make a copy of something before I do this. I'll just wait for Max to get its act together. Actually, is Alchemist still set? No, there we go. No, it saved it out. Okay, cool. I'm just going to copy that SBZAR file into my shell, which is in my documents, I believe. Documents, algorithmic, substance painter, shelf, materials. Okay, now we can jump into Max. Let's select one of these metal rings and we're going to send that over to Substance Painter. Paolo, hello to you, Paolo. How are you? Did you have a good weekend, Paolo? It's good to see you. Paolo Del Cabo. I'll call you Paolo. How about that? I just like to make these large. They're easier for me to see and easier for you guys to see. So just because we mixed materials in our own, we created our own substance in Substance Alchemist, doesn't mean we can't do some mixing of stuff here inside of Painter again. So let's have a look here. First of all, for something cool. No, we don't want chainmail. But how are you, Paolo? You well? Did you have a good weekend? Paolo says, I stayed 2 days doing a human retopology. You're nearly finished? Well, cool. So you spent 2 days doing a retopology, a human retopology, Paolo. But you're almost finished. Well, that's cool. Yes, and hello to you too, Paolo. And hope the retopology is going well for the model. It's always a big job doing a retopology on an object. And let's just slack and do it. Use the automated tools built into ZBrush or something, which I do actually. I'm guilty of that. Or using instant meshes or something. But characters are stuff you've really got to do by hand, unfortunately. Android Lust says, don't you just love retopology? Yeah. Yeah, because I can get doing environment hard surface stuff. Most times I can get away with an automated tool and ZBrush to do the retopology. But if you're doing character work, you really got to do it by hand to get your edge loops and stuff correct, particularly if it's going to be an animated character. So that's always a major pain. Which is why I don't do character work. Yes, but you love... But yes, but love has hate. Okay. I'm assuming you love it. You hate it, but you love it too. And yeah, like I said, if you're doing character work, it's really important. You're going to have to do it by hand, at least partially by hand, to fix up all your edge loops, so you can get some nice animation happening. So you don't get mesh deformation when you do animation. It's your first serious one, Paolo. Okay. No, I understand what you're saying, Paolo. Don't ever think your English is fine. That goes for anyone watching that English might not be their native language. Don't you worry about it, guys and girls. I can get the gist of what you're saying. Yes, you are fine, Paolo. Now I've got to try and find my substance. This one. I'm going to start by throwing that down, because I want to check the rust isn't too big for the object. I'm actually turning the height information off. I just think it's a bit too bumpy, a bit too rusty. Turning the height information off just smooths that a little bit more. I'll leave the roughness and the normal on, but I do want to do another layer on top of this, and I want to use a dirt layer, so I'm going to find a dirt that might be cool. Let's try this mud. So I'm just going to throw the mud on top. I'm going to delete this layer here because it's empty anyway. I'm going to turn off the height, the normal, and the roughness for the mud. Let's change the color a bit because it's too light. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Should be good. We're going to jump into these smart masks, and we're going to look at let's look at the dirty dry one. Now, actually, the first thing I need to do here before I use my smart mask is I must bake out my mesh. I forgot about that. So we're going to use the high poly as the low poly. I'm going to bake it out at 2K resolution. Indra says, by the way, anyone know what caused the Notre Dame fire? No, I haven't heard either. I don't think they've said yet. They're still investigating what caused what actually did cause the fire. I don't think they know. Hopefully they'll find out soon. They think it may have been because they were renovating the actual cathedral. They think it may have been something to do with the renovations. I hope they find out. Just going to change the balance here a little bit, because you see in the footage that you see on television, there's all that scaffolding that's around the outside of the building. That was because they were doing all that renovation work. Jump back to this underlying texture for a minute. Oh, okay. It's looks like it might be a problem with the underlying. I'm just wondering what these little little marks are here and there. It's actually to do with the underlying bake out, causing that visual artifact. Android Lost says, yeah, found out a few minutes before getting on Twitch. Sniper Girl says, literally just found out about it from this Twitter shortly before coming in. Sounds like the renovation company is going to get fired. Yeah. It's terrible. If it was caused through the renovations, and that's going to be a major... I wouldn't want to be the company doing the renovation work. But we don't know. Don't know what the cause is at this stage. They suspect that... They don't think it was deliberate. They think it was something to do with the renovations. But at least that's what I heard. That was the ambient occlusion map that was causing that issue, that visual issue. So I'm just remove the ambient occlusion version of the map. So let's jump back up to our dirt layer and have a play with it. Fired. Smurfberry Barbecue, it's good to see you, buddy. Sniper Girl says, hope they're insured. Oh, I don't know if they are. Hopefully they are, but I don't know if they are. Why are you doing that? How do you ensure the irreplaceable, unreplaceable? That's a good question. Some of those things were priceless. Some of the artwork in there was priceless. I don't know how you'd insure against that either. But I hope you're well, Smurfberry. Oh, I'm thinking, why is my dirt not showing up? It's because I don't have it turned on. Duh. Way to go, Philip. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm changing sliding all these little knobs, and I'm thinking, why is nothing changing? It would help if I turned it on. It is very sad though, I agree. It was a beautiful building. Beautiful, beautiful. Smurfberry says, being distracted by classic Twilight Zone episodes. Ooh, you know that they're remaking the Twilight Zone? Is it HBO or one of those networks are remaking the Twilight Zone? I don't know what it's like. I think they've released the first episode. I think you can watch it on YouTube actually. The first episode. Curious says, for now they suspect accidental fire during renovation of metal tower that burnt down. Yeah, curious. That, yeah, they don't think it was deliberately lit at this stage anyway. And Smurfberry says, and doing writing instead of 3D art. Oh, well, that's okay. As long as it's something creative, then that's cool. You're forgiven, Smurfberry Barbecue, so long as it's something creative. Android Lost says, that sucks. At least it wasn't some sort of vandalism. Well, that's true. At least it wasn't deliberately done. Android Lost says, it's not okay. Hands are made for 3D, not writing. Well, there you go. You've been told, Smurfberry. No, you can do writing as well. Writing is cool. Actually, I think weren't you talking to Sniper Echo about a script or something in the Discord server, I think, Smurfberry? Maybe that's what something to do with that. Maybe that inspired Smurfberry to do some work on a script or something. Because they were talking about writing a script. Let's see if we can't get this. This one I'm going to pull back a little bit, I think. So I want the dirt of this one to be more along the bottom and less along the top. Oh no, Smeppery says, no, I just got sick of the damn plant. Well, it can be good to take a break sometimes if, you're not feeling it. I've said that to you guys before, don't force yourself. If you're not feeling it, don't do it. So what I've done here with this is I've just brought in a little bit of dirt to the bottom rung here, less to the top, so more around here. Not too much, just a little bit. We don't want it to look like that. I just want a little bit of dirt to be brought in toward the base to give a bit of variation in the colour. I'm also just going to rename this while I remember. I'm going to call this one Column Ironwork. And I think what I might do too is just jump back up to my materials. Back down to where our dirt is. Throw down this mortar wall above everything. Again, change the color. I want to make it darker. Maybe a little less brown. Back to our smart masks. And I want to I'm going to try this surface worn one. So I just want something that's adding a little bit of dirt overall. So I have the first dirt, which is at the base. Now I'm adding another mask here, which is just throwing a little bit of dirt overall, the object itself. I'm just going to pull that back a little bit though, because I don't want it quite so heavy. Let's have a look at the contrast. Just pull up a little on the contrast. The ambient occlusion. The actual curvature itself. And we can start to move it from the top down, but I don't want to do that, so. And finally the thickness. Maybe just a little bit. Okay, let's do a save of this project. I'm going to export it and then we're going to see whether I like the look of it or not. I'm going to export this as a 2K texture. Smoker says, "Gotta see the plant." Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like I said, if you're not feeling the work, doing the 3D or whatever it is, the artwork you're doing, then I'm not going to close that down because I might come back and make some changes. Then do something else. I'm just going to select this one here and let's set up our shader again. So a standard shader with a standard bitmap. A column deco. With the DirectX shader. Interactive. The normal map. The color map. Metallic. And the roughness. And finally the ambient occlusion, which is not there because I turned off ambient occlusion. Yes. So no ambient occlusion for this one. Let's turn the normal map on, the color map on, the metallic, and the roughness. And assign the material. Again, it looks like it's showing up quite dark. So let's fix that. I'm going to make it unique and open up the shader. We will use 2 lights instead of 1. And export the graph as the column deco. Column ironwork actually. Okay. Let me just get something for Max to lock onto. Now I don't really like the look of that color. Oh, the nodes, that's right, Chag says, oh, the nodes. Yeah, no, I don't really like the look of the color of the green on the green column. We do want it to blend, but we do want it to be a little bit more noticeable than that. So I think I'm just going to jump back into Substance Painter. Yeah, again, the color is actually quite different here in Painter as opposed to Max. Max is still a little dark on this color. Just going to check that shader again. Chag says, hey Phil, I'll go get some sleep. Have a nice stream. See you on Friday. Take care. We'll see you later, Chag. Thanks for popping in and being here. I do appreciate it. I'm back on again live tomorrow, by the way. You have a good night's sleep, Chag. And thanks for popping in. I think what I'm going to do here is okay, it looks like the light is already on Omni. We're not using a directional light. Let me think here. I think the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to try adding one more light again to the material, to the shader. So instead of 2 lights, let's try 3. Okay, let's export the texture again. Column ironwork. It's a little better, it's a little lighter. Still the colour, I'm not really happy with that green against the green, it's getting lost. So, let's jump into the underlying material here. There are no parameters because we didn't set any up when we made the substance. So I'm going to jump back into Alchemist. Just as well we kept it open, isn't it? Just before I do that, I'm going to jump back into Max. I'm going to add an Omni light to the scene. So just a standard Omni light. And I'm just going to pull that in. Let's take it out here. Pull it down a little bit. And this is Omni 2. I'm just going to jump back into the texture. And I'm going to set, okay, light position 1 is already set to Omni 2. So Omni 1, Omni 2. And the default light. Just going to hide that Omni light. We don't need to see it. Still didn't lighten it up. I was hoping it may lighten it up a little more, but it really didn't. I'm just going to play with the values a little bit on that Omni light. Let's pull up on the intensity. Okay, but you can see what it's doing when I pull up on the intensity here. You can see it in the viewport. Still not really doing what I want it to though. I mean, it's lightening it up, which is good. That's what I want. But I still don't know if I'm happy with that green color. Decisions. Oh, there you go. Euro's just posted in the Discord server about Unity having an asset store as well. Good to know. We were talking about selling, if you're selling your work online, what are the best places to sell your stuff are. And I gave Euro a couple of examples in the Discord server. me just choose something to lock onto so I can do a bit of a rotation here. I might just lighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to come back into the original material here in Substance Alchemist. Look for the one where we added the color. Painted metal, it's this one here. And I'm just going to, what am I going to do here? I'm going to pull up on the luminosity a little bit. Pull up a little bit on the contrast, I think, as well. Pull back a little bit on the saturation. Just want a hint of color. Okay, let's export the texture. Again, we're going to save it to the desktop. And call this one My Rusted Metal, My Rusted Ironwork. That is 2K. Just waiting for it to save out over here. Still exporting, got to give it a minute. Now it's done. I'm going to copy that new substance back into our shelf, which is under my documents. Algorithmic Substance Painter shelf materials. I don't mind having two versions, the one that's greener than the other. Under two different names, that's fine. Let's jump back into Painter. Back to our materials. And let's find where we saved it. My green metal, my rusted ironwork 2. I'm just going to pull that one in here underneath of everything else. Turn this one off. Now we're going to re-export this. Column, Deco 3, column, yep, that's fine. I shouldn't need to make any changes to the shader and max. It should automatically pick up those changes we just did. It's just Max complaining. Vagrant says substance, yay, yes, substance. I'm just waiting for Max to load up here. Okay, and now with the lighter coloured texture, I think it might be a bit better. We're just getting more contrast from the metalwork against the column. So it's just better than the darker green. If I sort of pull back here, we can get a better look at it. So it's this one we're looking at, the metalwork here. I'm just going to assign that texture to a couple of them here. We'll probably have to rotate the texture around, but just so we can get a better look at what the textures looking like on those metal pieces. There we go, that's a better look. So I think, yeah, the lighter colour is better. Stands out more. Better overall. But what I'm probably going to do is do a different variation, just so we don't look like we're using the same texture as well. So I'm just going to do a quick save here. And I think we might call it a day, guys and girls. I do want to thank you very much, though, for being here, watching and hanging out with me. Remember, if you haven't already, to join the Discord server, Build Us 3D Discord server. You can click that blue graphic in my panels. You can follow me on Twitter if you're not sure when I go live, because I always post to Twitter at Build Us 3D when I go live, if you want a reminder that way. But yes, thank you guys and girls for being here and watching. We will pick this up again tomorrow. We'll continue texturing the bits and pieces. We'll make a second variation of this metallic texture here for these decorative pieces, and then we'll continue working our way down and texturing up the other bits and pieces. Remember too, I still have to take a couple of these into Mari and overpaint them as well to give them a bit more character. That's the plan anyway. But thank you guys and girls. I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. See you guys.